Tor here. To start out with, a two-wheel drive vehicle will conquer these trails as sufficiently as any other vehicle, provided the other vehicle is also a two-wheel drive. Trying this with a two-wheel drive vehicle would be like watching a zebra try to court a lion who's in heat. In the end, you'd only end up with a low IQ, unalive zebra and a very unsatisfied but fat lion. Suffice to say, four-wheel drive is definitely a must. Along the way, you will cross Wawweep Creek and trail drive through many washes and unique desert environments. I would recommend to only attempt to traverse this place during fair weather. If you pay attention better than I look, you will find some very interesting places along the way. To be clear, I look pretty good, so that means you're going to have to really put a bit of effort into paying attention. If there's one thing to be said about the desert, is it hides its secrets better than the government hides its secrets about aliens, but that's kind of a lowball. I suppose I should say, the desert hides its secrets better than KFC hides its ultimate crispy chicken recipe. Tor here, and so as you can see behind me, there's this really cool old trailer gypsy caravan wagon thing. I don't know, just made the trip to get here. Can't wait to show you what this place is all about. It's pretty cool. Finding this place is easy enough. I will include GPS coordinates in the description and map links. However, if you cannot figure out how to get to this spot with that information, I would strongly recommend you find someone who can and have them guide you. No offense, but this is not the kind of place you want to get lost and stranded trying to find. Making mistakes this far into the desert, you will have a high probability of ending up like that zebra I mentioned earlier. This place is fairly impressive. It is hard to imagine someone taking a vehicle through the desert and dropping off this trailer, especially since there is a good possibility that this trailer has been sitting here since possibly before Lake Powell was founded. Of course, there's also the possibility it was made with car parts that were 20 years old at the time of its assembly, so maybe it was moved here after Lake Powell? It's hard to say. Either way, its construction style is old, and some of the artifacts nearby were extremely old. Their construction style was representative of the early 40s. For anyone wondering what this is, it is likely a cowboy rest stop. Nearby are old cattle pens used for storing livestock and riding horses. There's quite a few places like this sprinkled throughout the desert, however none of them have such a unique and, dare I say, adorable little trailer on them, at least not that I've found yet. That being said, I have visited some old cowboy cabins, and I will be making videos of those in the future. Something interesting of note is that these places are still used, which is why you will find old unused irrigation equipment, supplies, and cowboy water lines laying around. Even more surprising is that many of them actually still function. It is important to leave these things alone as they are vital for the operation of cattle harvesting, watering, and feeding in this area, and are legally recognized as private property. Taking or damaging them is considered vandalism and theft. Once inside, I will admit that it felt quite familiar. It reminded me of walking through downtown Seattle, but without all the noise and people. It was cramped, full of rat feces, smelled like the stalest air in history, and as if all of that wasn't good enough, it was thoroughly unpleasant. There was quite a bit of old literature in this cabin. Judging from the lack of toilet paper anywhere, I presume it was likely used for toilet paper. However, it was concluded that in doing so, it would give the user a nasty case of bubonic plague. Suffice to say, it is very clear that this trailer is overrun by large rats. There was what I would presume would have been a cozy fire stove in this trailer, however, lighting it would not be advisable, and the smell it would make I can't even imagine. On the range was a quaint little ashtray that was accommodated by a large mound of turds. It made me wonder, were these rats kicking back and enjoying a nice romantic smoke by the fireplace every day? All jokes aside, this trailer was like a bad book with a pretty cover. Speaking of books, the writing on the walls was rather odd and, for lack of better words, cryptic. My guess is that maybe some of the authors were not in a natural state of mind or had taken to ingesting peyote or something of the likes. On an interesting note, I could tell that at some point someone had put some effort into restoring this trailer. There were some repair supplies that were stowed away in the only non-rat infested compartments of this trailer. Everything else was modern and left behind, likely by nearby campers. I found no objects of particular interest other than what appeared to be some kind of can opener or can lid. Towards the end of my stay inside, I will admit I was beginning to get worried I might come out with a new strain of bubonic plague and tetanus. I would not advise spending any time in this trailer for what, at this point in time of the video, should be very obvious reasons. P.S. Sorry if you are from Seattle, I honestly miss how nice and cool that place used to be. Outside there was a camping spot, and I've heard of people pulling fifth wheels to this location and spending some time here. Nearby was a natural spring, but sadly it was empty this time of the year. I will admit that it would be nice to camp here for a day or two, as it is a pleasant location and such a neat trailer. There is a cave nearby, but I did not have time to explore it, so maybe I'll touch back on that in another episode. For now, I will let the video do the talking and check back in towards the end. So if you want to help support this channel, definitely check me out on an app called Patreon. It's a great way to support local developers, independent developers, small developers like me, so that way I can create more content like this and get it to you. Thank you for your time and consideration. One of the cool things about going to locations like this is that you're greeted with an amazing journey, and the perspective on the way back is just as fresh as the perspective on the way there. The beauty of this land is unparalleled, the envy of gold. And the only word that comes to my mind when I think about it is hallelujah. So until next time, this is Thor, signing out. Such a goof, Shiva.